Well, it's time now to feel healthy. Joining us is Lenore Madu, our health correspondent. And Lenore, what do you have for us today?
You know how you cannot get enough of your cell phone? Well, guess what? There is a warning on the risk of cancer for certain cell phones. But first, 3 billion people have them, and worldwide, more than 90% of the Western world uses them. Americans average about 13 hours a month talking on them. Cell phone. Today, Casey Taylor tells us about some of the downsides to using that device we just can't seem to get enough of.
Americans love to talk.
Hello?
Hey, dude.
Hello? Hey.
Many with phones glued to their ears.
I use my cell phone all the time. I usually carry it everywhere I go.
Some talk more than they should.
All the time.
I'm constantly fielding probably 30 or 40 calls a day.
Cell phones have become an absolute necessity.
I have to use it for business.
Maybe like 100.
100 times a day?
But before you take that call, there are some risks you should know about. Men, beware. A new study shows cell phone usage may be linked to infertility problems.
There is a degradation in the quality of sperm in the group which was exposed to the cell phone for 1 hour.
Men who use their cell phones for more than 4 hours per day had the lowest quality of sperm. Another recent study showed heavy cell phone use is linked to a 50% increased risk for developing tumors of the salivary gland. Studies show it takes twice as long for a person to fall asleep after talking on a cell phone for just 30 minutes.
Wrap my day up usually with personal phone calls.
Keeping it by your bed at night disrupts your sleep, so I now put it in the corner of my bedroom.
Here's another downside. You could get what doctors call mobile phone dermatitis, or a rash in reaction to the nickel in some cell phones.
Like when I use my cell phone, I sometimes break out.
Your hands aren't free of risk either. Those who send a lot of texts may be at risk for BlackBerry thumb, sore digits from overuse and repetition. So next time, you might want to hold that call. I'm Casey Taylor reporting.
Well, there is a warning on the risk of cancer for certain cell phone users. As a result, the director of a prominent research institute is telling members of his own staff to limit their time on their mobile phones. There have been questions over cell phones and cancer before, but for the first time, a leading researcher issues a warning. Dr. Ronald Heberman, in a memo to his staff at the University of Pittsburgh Cancer Research Center, warns that children should use cell phones only in emergencies and that fetuses are most at risk. Phone user Marjorie Newman tells a reporter exactly what that risk would be.
Brain cancer?
Previous studies in several countries have found no evidence that heavy use of cell phones causes cancer. At the American Cancer Society, Dr. Michael Thun has followed the studies closely.
All the evidence we have so far is that they're safe, but as I say, it's impossible with science to prove that something is absolutely safe.
The National Cancer Institute at the U.S. National Institutes of Health says cell phones do emit radiofrequency energy, a form of radiation. The institute points out several long-term studies on a relatively new technology, and it calls attention to the growing number of users, more than 180 million in the U.S. and more than 2 billion worldwide. Heberman's warning is based on an ongoing research project on the health effects of cell phone usage. He suggests faculty members take action even before the data is published. As for worried phone users,
I'll get myself a wireless headset.
In the absence of conclusive evidence, that is exactly what doctors recommend: a headset of speakerphone to keep the phone's possibly harmful radiation further from the brain. Some 16 million people in the United States practice yoga, the stretching and exercise practice that originated in India thousands of years ago. And as Paige Collock reports, yoga is being used as therapy for some cancer patients at a hospital in New York.
Inhale. Exhale.
This is what many people picture when they think about yoga: vigorous stretching, contorted body positions, sweat, and spandex. But the yoga students at Beth Israel Medical Center in New York are not ordinary practitioners. Brad Rothschild, a 39-year-old father of 3, was diagnosed last year with cancer.
Extend your fingers and then make fists.
Yoga teacher Shayna Kuhn-Siegel leads Rothschild in a pilot program aimed at alleviating the suffering of cancer patients. It is not a cure, but Shayna says she hopes she can reduce pain and promote relaxation.
I had a woman this morning who was just in the most excruciating abdominal pain, I mean, in tears. And it was just a matter of turning her to her side, putting pillows between her knees, putting pillows between her feet, making sure that her arms were elevated.
Hospital administrators started the Karen Beth Israel project with an $850,000 donation from U.S. fashion designer and yoga devotee Donna Karen. Dr. Woodson Merrill is chairman of the Department of Integrative Medicine at Beth Israel.
The cost saving is what I'm really excited about, because that's going to be a real change agent in particularly this time of global recession where nobody has money to spend on anything. And if you can show them by hiring a holistic nurse or bringing in yoga therapy, they can actually improve outcomes and save money. It's a no-brainer.
The pilot project is providing 86 patients with yoga therapy for 6 hours a day. In addition, the oncology ward will get a massive renovation, transforming it into a more nurturing and healing environment. If the project proves successful, Merrill says there are plans to spread yoga's therapeutic power into other hospitals across America. Paige Kollick, VOA News, New York.
Well, that's your health report.
So you're saying we should dump our phones? I guess not so drastically.
Not so drastically.
But of course, always such informative health information from our Lenore Madu. Please be sure to join her every Tuesday and Thursday right here on In Focus.
And for more information on these stories, go to voanews.com/TV to Africa.